rebirth of light for the whole planet. So that's a natural cycle. And then comes springs, and it's following all these things. In autumn, it's been just confusion and going into the dark. It follows the cycles of the earth, So in spring 2021, we should know where we are going, and it should be all right. It's a window. We are at the fork between two timelines. So we are here. We are at this point, and we will take. They say we'll take the good timeline. We are on the way to take the good timeline, but as we go in the future in time, we will go away from the negative future timeline.
And that's the bifurcation.
So, yes, but at the start, we're very close to it, so it still interferes.
I
less
had
and less and less.
Yesterday that as it splits, there's still a bridge where there's still communication and connection until it's like, it's not over till it's over. But even though there's a split, there's still the lines of communication. Like I kept seeing these bridges between the timelines for a while. Do you think
they showed me the same thing? And as well, they told me that it's a shift of paradigm. And the ancient paradigm, every time we change paradigm, and we can see that in our own lives, the ancient paradigms fights back, tries to fight, and so that's why you have all these obstacles suddenly, and that tells you that you are changing. And what he said to me is that yes, we need to believe and hope and trust, because if we are in 29th of October, they told me there's going to be 40 days of confusion for humanity, and that's should be finished today, I think. Anyway. Weird. What I was saying, yes, it's like a dying beast, this ancient paradigm, and it knows it's going to die, so it's going to push all its agendas, all it has in its gut at the last moment, faster as it can. It's just going to give everything it has to try to fulfill its agendas before dying. That's why it's so scary at the moment. That's why I'm not going to name stuff, but we have all these. I'm going to do the as well in February.
That's major. That's major because that could change our DNA.
So what Torhan told me about that, he said since February last year, February 2020, he said it wasn't talking about lockdown or anything. It was just about to start. He said to me, one day he said to me, connect, he said, do not let anyone insert into your body anything without your consent, and even not. And then he became more explicit, and he told me that these were carrying, it calls it the tracker dust, a tracker dust. So I understand it's nano trackers that will fix to your nervous system. It will alter your DNA. You will be remotely controlled. It can even control your behavior because it's linked with satellites as well. And they are on Earth in certain bases, underground bases, centers where they have mind control device, stuff as well. So nothing, because that's all part of the agenda. They want to enslave humanity by altering the DNA, that we do not activate our DNA and evolve in higher frequency. They want to keep us as slaves.
Do you think some of the grays and some of what's happened in the galactic history that's created sort of the grays or the modified, humans, or how the tall whites might be, Palladians that were modified into becoming like a gray species? Do you think it's because of things like these?
They've done that a lot. Is
that what we end up turning into?
Yeah. They want to turn us into like zombies, like slaves.
And that eventually would mean that our physical body turns into like a EBE maybe?
Yeah, because all these hybridization programs, in the underground facilities that they freed, I've seen pictures in Thoran's head of what they took out, and there was lots of hybrids between humans and greys. And they look all weird and different, and that's what they want to create, this race. That's the abductions are mental. That's going so much. And not all,
they're trying to create greys, but then they hybridize the greys in order to combine the genetics. Or I mean, aren't there different types of breeding programs? Some of them are more benevolent, like there's the Asasani, which seems to be more benevolent, but then there's the whole other kind of thing, which is further enslavement. Or what can you tell us about the different types of breeding programs?
Oh yeah. So there are two big groups of abductions: the benevolent and the malevolent. Let's talk about the malevolent, because we need it's for three purposes, mainly that I've been explained. Food. So for the reptilians, because the reptilians eat us, especially children. Adrenochrome as well is a big thing as well that they harvest. It makes them stronger and increase their ability to shapeshift as well. So food, then slaves as workforce. That's the workforce that descend on other planets for mining as well, to join to fight whatever workforce. So food, workforce, and genetic material. That's the three. The genetic material, it's in alliance with the MyLab. It's done as well by the military underground. They help a lot, and not all abductions are performed in ship. Very few. A lot are performed in underground bases. Even if it is the ETs that abduct, the military used to facilitate rooms for that. Well, I mean, that's the bad. The good ones, because there are good abductions. So when we are abducted, we are traumatized because it's traumatic experience, but sometimes we don't know. Sometimes we think it's bad, but it's good. And because I've experienced it, this gray being that I hugged, it called me my child. That's part of it. So that's another thing. They pick. So it's another organization, which is the Council of Five. It's very spiritual and old organization. It's like the Federation. They work together. They pick bloodlines who have certain blood and a potential for psychic abilities and quick DNA progress. They are going to insert their extraterrestrial DNA in these bloodlines by abducting people generation to generation to activate these families, people, to speed up the evolution of human race, because they need
like all the to speed up, and like the fluoride, the GMOs, and all the things, all the assaults, right?
Oh yeah. They try on every front. So these good beings, they abduct people to speed up the evolution of our race, that we are stronger, quicker, and more evolved quicker. They activate our DNA and they put their DNA in us as well.
Are they both like different types of grays? Because you've
they're not all grays. Yeah,
they're not all grays, right? There's a lot of different breeding programs, but there is a benevolent one with the grays, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's it. And yeah. So I'm from an ancient bloodline of shaman women and people with certain abilities. So I understand better. I know my grandmother was abducted as well. She told me the story. And so that's why this being I hugged, I was calling me my child.
So are you saying that was, okay, explain what he meant.
Because he put a little bit of his DNA in me, because that I didn't have the time to just tell everything, but I had another abduction when I was a toddler. It's in my book. And I was abducted from my bed by this tall gray being, which is he's an Egaroth, and he took me on his ship to check me out and see if I was okay. He put a long device on my skin and on my chest, and it radiated a glowing red light, and it was very warming. It's like if he activated something in me, in my heart chakra, and he was checking me and touching me. Everything was all right, and he was full of love and very nice. This I remembered under hypnosis. So this was an example of these abductions, which are part of a program to help our species to evolve faster. Then as well, with all the star seeds and the envoys, souls who came from higher density to incarnate in Earth, Terran avatars, as they call it, bodies. They need to prepare the body because the shock would be very rough, and both will feel discomfort and even sickness. So they pick these enhanced bloodlines to rise the vibration and activate the DNA of this bloodline, that the bodies are able to receive these souls, and it's compatible. So that's what I've been told as well. So anyone who knows they are envoys, as they call it, they have had their bloodlines prepared. That's what I.
So does that relate to the whole RH negative and positive thing? Is there a major significance to that?
Oh yes, there's something in the blood as well. Yes. So if I can remember, the O blood has been brought by the Anunnaki who arrived so long ago, and they wanted to create a slave race, a hybrid race with primitive population. So they put the Anunnaki are a reptilian race. They look like humans. Anunnaki means human-like, but they are reptilian grades. They are all blood, and but in order to put their blood, to mix their blood, it wasn't compatible. The reptilian blood isn't compatible with humans, but the greys, so many greys are. So that's different. In the greys, there are different strands. There are gray, reptilian greys, insectoid greys. There are different things. So they create a protein that we call D positive. That's to make the O compatible with humans, and that's quite complicated. So they will abduct for different purposes regarding to the blood. If it is for hybridization, they will pick the right blood. Hybridization with greys or hybridization with reptilians, different things. You have the protein or not. It's complicated. If it's for food or slavery, they don't care. They take everyone.
Oh, gotcha. So so there's the ET part of it, but what do you hear about when it comes down to like the characters like Lucifer or some of these pantheons and these different archetypal energies of the Divine Mother, the Christ energy, or like, what are you kind of picking up on as far as, these greater stories that relate to how the earth became the earth, and, and the Lucifer role, and are we reconciling all these archetypes within ourselves and learning to heal based on how we relate to them? And until we get that, we're dealing with a whole nother kind of storyline that we're just wrapping our heads around. Is there any kind of clarity you can bring? Because even some really well-intentioned people are like, oh, but Lucifer's the bringer of light. And then, oh, Sophia's the real Lucifer. It's like, it gets so confusing. Is there any clarity you can bring on that? I don't feel confused within what my understanding is, but I know a lot of people are, and I'd be so curious to hear what you have to say.
There's a lot of confusion, and even put on purpose through all the groups on social medias and the spiritual groups, there on purpose confusion put in it to just